So, what were things like when we first met? What was I like?
Well, we were only really young, weren't we? I was just turned 18, and we were still at school really, in college, so just like normal teenagers, I suppose, weren't we? I mean, you was a bit of a wild child, weren't you? You used to go out drinking a lot, and obviously you smoked weed, but other than that, as far as I knew, there was nothing else out of the ordinary, was there really? And I don't really know about all that kind of thing, so I just thought it was all, you were just normal, just a normal guy.
Boys being boys.
Yeah.
So, fast forward a bit. At what point do you think you became aware that drugs and alcohol were an issue, or my behaviours?
Well, I mean, not like I said, I'm not from that world at all, so I really had no idea up until the very last minute, did I really? I mean, I knew you weren't being the person you were supposed to be, because I mean, when we got married at 25 and had Patrick, and I thought, yeah, he'll start to settle down now and things will come right, but really things just gradually got worse and worse. So I knew there was something not right, but I just didn't know what it was. I just thought, well, I honestly just thought that you didn't want to be with me, that you didn't love me and you wanted to be somewhere else. And that's what I thought. I only knew really once everything started to fall apart.
So what did that look like? When you say I only knew, what did you find out when things fell apart?
Well, I remember when I went to the caravan in July and I found the cocaine in your wallet, and that was the first time I knew that you'd ever used cocaine. And then obviously in September I found out that you cheated. And then everything kind of just blew apart then, and I just didn't know you anymore. I just couldn't understand why everything was happening, and I can't actually remember how I found out it was still drugs that were involved, but somehow. You crashed your car, didn't you? You crashed 4 cars in a week.
Had no one ever said anything to you?
No.
About drugs? Had no one ever suggested
Everybody
it?
kept everything for I literally, your friends, nobody said nothing to me, did they? I was completely in the dark, and I think you stitched everything up so perfectly that I never found anything out.
What was it like when you found out?
Well, I think my head just fell off really, didn't it? I didn't know what I was dealing with at first. I had to learn all about drugs and the effects they have on you. I had to learn about the impact. Well, I had to learn about addiction and what it is, and I tried to educate myself better as I could so that I could help you, and obviously we got you to rehab, didn't we? And
so did you know that it was addiction? Like when you found the drugs and that, did you think addiction?
Not straight
away. Or was
away.
it later on?
Yeah, not straight away. It took a while. I think it took probably 2 or 3 months for me to realise that, yeah, you've got a really big problem here, because you couldn't stop doing it, and you weren't functioning. You didn't care about anything. Your nose was falling apart. You looked a mess. Sorry, but you did. It was horrendous. It was just awful to watch.
What was it like that? Was it like, did you feel you were trying to save me, or were you angry?
A bit of both. I think I was angry because of the impact it was having on me and the children. And I was trying to save you at first. Definitely, I thought I could help you, and I thought I could get you to not use drugs and everything would be okay. But then once you went to rehab and I started educating myself, I realised that there was nothing that I could ever do to stop you from using, and if you were going to do it, then I was powerless to stop it.
So during that time then, probably a question that I don't really want to listen to, but I think it's an important one. Talked about me, my addiction, my behaviours and all that. What about you? How were you impacted?
Well, I think I was being impacted before I even knew that you were addicted, because I felt like I was living with somebody who I didn't know. I mean, you were living a double life and I had no idea. I felt like you didn't care. I felt like you didn't love me. I felt like I was being paranoid. Like I was being possessive. As well as kind of feeling bad about the way you were behaving, it was making me feel bad about myself, because I just didn't feel worthy. I just felt like I didn't matter, you know. And it was just, I was confused. It was such a confusing time. Because you were telling me one thing, telling me that you loved me, telling me, you know, you're being paranoid, you're being jealous, you're being this, you're being that, but I felt that something was not right, and deep down I knew there wasn't. I just didn't know what it was.
Not easy, that. When did things start to change then?
Well, they started to change, obviously, once you got clean, once you stopped using. But even at that point, it took a long time for your behaviours to change and kind of your way of thinking to change. But it also took me a long time to change my behaviours and my way of thinking. So I think for a long time, it was like finding new ground for both of us. We were kind of both on shaky ground, both trying to find a normal, because I think things had never been normal. So definitely, obviously, the minute you stop using, then I was, you know, I had to try and trust you again. But then and as you started to work your recovery and your meetings, and then things gradually started to get better.
I think it's like, when you talk about all that stuff, like I remember things like you ordering drug testing kits, and I remember you used to such bins and like...
I was like a mad woman. I felt like a detective. I was being a detective 24 hours a day. Yeah, looking through recycling bins, looking for empty bags. Yeah, it's all consuming.
And you were trying to... one thing I do think is that for the most part, I think you kept most things from the kids as well, which
well, I had
I'm
to,
very grateful for.
Yeah, I had to keep things going for the children, and I mean, I didn't always manage to do that, but we've got good family, haven't we? And yeah.
So I hope this is going to end on a positive. I'm going to ask you a question. But what's it like today then? So obviously years and years there of things, you know, not being normal, as you say. Obviously today I'm in established recovery, and I think to some extent our relationship and you have had to recover in your own way as well. So what's it like today, being married to an addict in recovery?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's really good. Well, you know, I mean, I don't think about your recovery or your addiction on a day-to-day basis. That's really none of my business. I leave that to you. I don't worry about whether or not you're going to use again, because I know that if you do, then there's absolutely nothing that I could have done to stop that. So I feel like I've been able to hand that all over to you. I don't worry about, you know, I do trust you. I trust you to tell me the truth. I trust myself now as well. I trust myself to know that if something's not right, that I'll be able to spot the signs, and I feel like I'd know, and I would know to put, well, I've got my boundaries in place now. I know that I would never go back to to living like that again. So I feel that I could protect myself. But I don't worry about it because I know that you're doing everything you need to do to stay clean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
Glad that ended on a good note. And one thing to mention in it is, you know, like you said, different people finding that new normal and all that sort of stuff. But one added benefit, as much as we're talking wider impact, is that wider impact goes to the kids, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
our house in recovery has benefited them massively.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the children have got a dad who's present. You're there for them. You've got time to listen to them and guide them, and especially now Patrick and Isabella are getting older, they've got a really, really good role model to
In
look
both of
up
us,
to.
in both of us.
So yeah, the whole family is just in a better place.